Night shift had begun again. I, Thomas, was working alone at our small gas station outside the city. The station is located on a deserted road on the edge of a dark forest. Most nights pass very quietly, as hardly anyone uses the road at these hours. A few customers come, get their gas, and quietly continue on their way. But tonight, when the clock struck midnight, one customer caught my attention. He came several times in a black sedan and told me a different story each time. At first, he said he was a detective, then that he was in an emergency. His posture, speech, and gaze were odd and unsettling. With each visit, my suspicion grew a bit more. His repeated visits had turned an ordinary night shift into something dark and dangerous. When the mysterious customer came again, this time he looked around nervously. "This place isn't safe," he said in a low voice. "There's a serial killer in this area, and someone working alone like you could be a target." His words frightened me, but also confused me. On his next visit, his demeanor changed. He acted like a victim seeking help, saying, "Please help, they're following me." These inconsistent stories, coming and going, were increasingly worrying me. Each time I wanted to believe him and help, but my doubt was growing. I decided to observe the situation more. At midnight, I saw him rummaging around outside. There were strange tools, ropes, and tapes in his car trunk. At that moment, I felt the danger was very close, and I knew I had to solve this mystery. The moment it all came to a head was when the customer returned to the station for the last time. His eyes were cold and calculating. "You can't escape now, Tomas," he said with a mocking smile. "I chose you because no one would look for you here." With these words, all the pieces fell into place. He was the serial killer in the area. As adrenaline coursed through my body, fear gave way to a desperate determination. I had to think fast and make a plan. To distract him, I lied. "The police are on their way. They've spotted you." He looked at me in surprise while I ran to the back store, locked the door from the inside, and called the police. My hand trembled on the phone as I could hear him pounding on the door and hurling threats. Each bang made my heart beat faster. I held my breath waiting, and finally the police sirens cut through the night silence, and the pounding on the door stopped. I held my breath and waited until the police finally arrested him. As he was being arrested, I witnessed his desperate looks, but the relief I felt was not as strong as expected. Even though the situation was resolved, something had changed. The thought of working alone on night shifts scared me, feeling every moment could carry potential danger. Questions about who else the killer's victims were and whether there was more danger still lurking remained in the air. I couldn't help but think, am I really safe? This experience had changed me forever. Night was no longer just a time of silence and peace, but also a period where hidden dangers lurked in my mind.